Kill me! I'm here! Kill me!
Hey everyone, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of a short film by the name of Burnt Ashes. Now, this is the latest in my series of reviews of things that are made by fellow YouTubers that have hit me up and asked me to take a look at their stuff and give my thoughts on it. And this time around, this movie is directed by a gentleman by the name of Avery Cohen, and he hit me up on my Facebook page. I have a public one, and he hit me up on it and asked me to take a look at his movie, and I was more than happy to do that, and I checked it out. The movie clocks in at around the 22-minute mark. He sent me a link to a website, so you can tell that he's got some people that he worked with, but he does a lot of the stuff himself. He produced it, wrote it, directed it, edited it, and filmed it. I thought it was kind of weird that he credits himself as the filmer. I didn't know that was a thing. I would expect it to be like director of photography or something like that, but whatever. I mean, I just thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, so the movie's like 22 minutes, and to give you a quick synopsis of the film, basically it's a guy who is going through life, and he looks to be in his like early 20s or mid 20s or somewhere there's about, and he's starting to kind of struggle a little bit, deal with a little bit of depression, and he finds out about a group that a support group, and he goes there and he meets another gentleman who he kind of bonds with, and through interacting with him kind of sees his life in a different way. And then, you know, it's a movie, so things happen, and it's mainly about the two of them. They're basically a little bit of an odd couple to a degree. They're both dealing with depression, but the one guy is kind of you know, a little bit mired in it, and the other guy is trying to definitely stay positive and trying to get the other guy out of his shell. And but at the same time, the thing I liked a lot about the movie from a story perspective was I liked the fact that the characters weren't you know, one-dimensional. So the guy he meets, who's trying to get him to kind of brighten up a little bit or whatever, he admits to the fact that he's got some issues in his life, and you know, that he's dealing with some depression issues himself, and yet he isn't going around all the time, you know, complaining about being depressed or whatever. He's trying to stay positive, like I said. And I don't know about any of you who are watching this, but as somebody who has known people who have dealt with the depression issues, I thought that was extremely realistic, because like a lot of the time, there's lots of movies and stuff that I've seen where there is characters that are depressed, and because the movie a lot of time is from their kind of point of view, you kind of see them as they're kind of like not necessarily moping around, but they're, you know, struggling to get out of bed and that kind of thing. And I, you know, I do think that part is kind of realistic as well. But I also through my own personal experience have found that a lot of time the people that that do suffer from depression, a lot of the people in their lives would have no idea that that's the case, because they put on kind of like a front. So I quite enjoyed the depiction of the gentleman that he meets, his character. And I also thought that the main character's depiction was also quite accurate, because there are also people that are more upfront about it and do have a harder time trying to pretend like they're not going through something like that. And he's more of a quiet character, and I thought that the actor who played the role did a really good job. I liked how you know, he was never in a rush to say any of his lines, which there were a couple moments in this movie where I felt like the people who were playing roles seemed to be trying to get lines out as quickly as possible. You know, I'm not going to say specifically who, but not the main characters. That was never the case with the main character. I thought his performance was really, really solid, and I thought that you know, he was never in a rush to say anything. He was never but he was taking his time with the emotional beats of the film, and I felt like that there was a great deal of realism to that. As far as critiques go, like I said, I did think that there was a couple characters that were very like really trying to get their lines out, and that didn't necessarily feel entirely real. It felt like somebody who was just, like I said, trying to rush through their lines. And the biggest issue with this movie for me was there were a few scenes where there was pretty bad audio problems. And one of the when it comes to, there was one scene basically where they cut and all of a sudden it sounds like they're they're all of a sudden in like a windy day, and you can really hear that, and stuff like that happens. So he wrote on the thing that it's a student film, and that that's understandable. Things happen, and throughout the majority of the movie, the sound is really crisp and really well done. You can tell that this isn't a guy like his camcorder or whatever, that he does have some experience and knows what he's doing. However, there was two scenes that I found quite jarring as far as because of the audio. There's two scenes that take place in what looks like a diner or a restaurant, where there's radio playing in the background, and it's problematic for a couple reasons. One, there's a couple moments where all of a sudden it's clearly the radio, because you can hear the DJ speaking, and the DJ is speaking almost as loud as the person saying their lines, and so it's hard to focus on what the people are saying. I mean, it's not like you can't hear what they're saying, but when you have competing dialogue there, that's a bit rough. And then the other much larger problem is it was obviously a music station, and music is playing, and there's cuts. So you'll hear 5 seconds of a song, and then 5 seconds, 10 minutes, like 10 seconds later, and then 5 seconds that are like a minute later in the song, and then 5 seconds of a different song, and that's a problem. My assumption is probably that he got permission to shoot in a diner, and that they had the music playing, and he may not have had control over that. But at the same time, I think that's definitely something that's gonna take somebody out of the movie, because it makes you think about how the movie was made. It takes you out of the story, and in the case of this movie, it happens quite late. So I think that's a pretty big problem. Like I said, it's a student film. You gotta keep that in mind, and like I said, I'm sure it probably wasn't out of his control to a degree, but in the future, I would definitely suggest if he runs into that kind of situation again, that think on your feet, go somewhere else instead of being at a diner, go somewhere else that you can not have that issue crop up, because it's a big problem. But otherwise, I thought the movie was quite well done. I thought it was shot extremely well, and it looked really good, especially for a student film. So overall, I quite enjoyed my experience watching it, and I would definitely suggest people to check out his channel. In the description below, there will be a link to his channel, which at the current time I'm recording this, the short film that I'm talking about is the first video that pops up, and I thought it was an enjoyable watch for sure, and I definitely encourage people to go check out his channel and subscribe to it and give this guy some support, because he obviously has a great deal of potential and a great deal of skill, and wrote a very interesting script that I got quite a bit out of, and yeah, I think he definitely could go on to do great things, and needs the support to get there, and it needs the feedback too, because I think for somebody in his situation, getting other people's thoughts would be awesome. So please go check out his movie, let him know in the comments below what you thought as well, and other than that, please comment below let me know what you thought of my review. Let me know if you have a short film or a project that you'd like me to take a look at and review for you. Hit that like button. It does great things for my channel. It basically makes it so YouTube will put my videos in front of people that may not have otherwise got to see them, which is something that was just huge to me, because I love talking to you guys about movies, and I love also opportunities like this to get the word out about talented young gentleman who's trying to get somewhere in the world is really cool. And obviously I'm not Roger Ebert or anything. I have hundreds of 800 or something like that, 850 subscribers. It's not a gigantic audience or whatever, but it's something. So I'd love to see this guy get some views out of this, and get some feedback more than anything else. And other than that, hit that subscribe button. I love talking to you guys. I hope you guys stick around, and have yourself a nice day.